welcome to my latest creative and knitting podcast. My name on Instagram is Orchids Heart and I'm coming to you from a very wet and dreary Birmingham in England. Yeah, the weather is vile. It has been pouring with rain since last night, so much so that I didn't get very much sleep. Because we live in the attic, we sleep in the attic, so the rain's quite loud on the ceiling. But yeah, I just wanted to record today because, to be honest, I'm distracting myself. We have some things going on today, which I'll talk about a bit later. It's been a couple of weeks. Again, I'll go into that later. So if I look a bit tired, there are reasons beyond just being 6 months pregnant. But yeah, I had a really lovely day yesterday, which was a welcome break from everything that's happening. And I wanted to share with you about that lovely trip and the projects that I have finished, that I'm working on, and yeah, what I've been getting up to. I have a bit of sewing, I have a bit of knitting, I might have a bit of spinning to share, maybe. We'll see how that goes and how long this video gets. And yeah, I think that's it. So first of all, I wanted to start by saying thank you to those of you who gifted me a knitting pattern from my knitting pattern wish list on Ravelry. Thank you so much. I've actually cast one of them on already, so thank you, and I'll share that in a bit. And to those of you who sent me like a kofi or kofi, whatever it's called. It looks to me like it's spelled like kofi, but I think you're meant to say it coffee, aren't you? Because that's kind of the premise. So but I just want to say thank you to the kind people that have supported my YouTube channel through either of those means. Thank you so much. But thank you to everybody who's also watching. There's been quite a few new people joining. And I wonder if it's because you all watch It's a Sarah, because I know she mentioned to me in her last video, which was very lovely. She said she found my style inspiring, and to be honest, I find hers really inspiring too. So clearly we've got similar tastes. So yeah, maybe you guys all came from there. But anyway, welcome, and I hope you enjoy this video. It sounds like a lot of you enjoyed my hinterland dress video I made last time and would love more of the same kind of thing. So I'm trying to think what I could talk about that would be as interesting, because I don't have any sewing patterns I've made that many of, to be honest. So I'm not sure how much I'd have to say about another sewing pattern, but I'm going to have a think. Anyway, I'm just going to grab my whip because I realised it's way out of shot. So I am wearing a few things. Actually, I mean, talking about hinterland dresses, this isn't a hinterland dress. So the hinterland dress is a pattern by Sew Liberated, and I have made quite a few of them, and so I spoke about it in a video dedicated to them on the last video. This is a thrifted linen dress that I bought recently. But as I was putting it on, I did think actually if you had the hinterland dress pattern, you could do something really similar, because it's still got quite a high waist, gathered button placket down the front. The button placket is narrower, but I don't think that makes much difference. The only really big difference is that it's got a V-neck rather than a round neck. And I think if you were doing the button down placket version, it could be quite easy just to cut like an angled line rather than doing the curved neckline. You know, if you tried that out on the paper pattern first, like a copied, if you traced it off and then made a sample out of some old fabric, I think it would be quite an easy hack to do. I'm not sure that I'm a V neckline person, just because most of my long sleeve tops I wear are round neck, and so they suit like a round or a scoop neck shaped garment better. But this one is made from Merchant and Mills linen, but was second hand, so a bit more affordable. And it's probably a size bigger than I normally wear, and so I thought that might be quite good for the fact that I am a size bigger than I normally am. And so I'm really enjoying wearing it at the moment. My only criticism of it is the waist ties are so long. If you're not careful when you go to the bathroom, they end up in the toilet, and don't ask me how I know. Within 5 minutes of wearing it, it had to go in the wash. Tragic. Yes, but anyway, scarf is tangled up. I'm also wearing something that I have made. This is the Oversized Seasons Cardigan by Ozetta, knit in Gilliatt by Natura in maybe salt and pepper, maybe just salt. I'm not sure which. So there's like a beeping going on very sporadically, and I'm trying to work out if it's coming from within my house or outside, because the thing that would be making that noise isn't flashing. So if I put a funny face, it's because the beep has happened again and I'm trying to work out where it's coming from. Because I stood next to the thing in question for 5 minutes, it didn't make a noise, so whatever it is, it's less common than that. A bit worried because there is nobody around to fix it at the moment, if it is something in this house. Anyway, threading content for you guys. The other thing that I just have on my lap in case I get cold, because it is a really cold day today, is my Birds of a Feather shawl, which I knit in Brume 4-ply by Daughter of a Shepherd. And this is one of my most worn shawls. I ended up using 2.5 skeins. It was kind of like a 30th birthday gift from a couple of people, because a couple of people gave me vouchers to Loop London. Yeah, the beep is coming from in here downstairs. I'm sorry if you can hear that noise. You'll understand why I'm frustrated when I tell you later what's going on. I don't think I know how to fix it, unfortunately. Anyway, just going to have to ignore it. This yarn is very rustic, but also feels amazing. I absolutely love it. Normally the pattern is knit with a mohair lace weight, so that's 600 metres, and 1 skein of 4-ply fingering weight, so that's 400 metres. And you only need 1 of each skein, so it's a really lovely pattern for like 1 skein of mohair and 1 skein of fingering 4-ply. However, so I initially only bought 2 skeins, but because the Heritage 4-ply is 4-ply yarn and there's no lace weight in there, I obviously ended up needing 2.5 to compensate for that extra 200 metres that was in the other one. It's actually giving me an idea. That beeping is getting more common. I'm going to shut the door. You guys probably can't hear it, to be honest. I think it's probably more annoying me than anyone else. So anyway, let's continue. Yes, and I should say I'll put links down below for everything that, well, I'll put the names of everything I've made down below. I don't tend to link them because I don't have enough time to do that, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but Google's your best friend. If you put the name, or you copy and paste what I've put in the description box into Google, it should come up. Also, that means you get to decide whether you're using Ravelry or something else, because I know Ravelry doesn't work for everybody. And my tea is too hot to drink. So, let's start with my very small pile of finished objects. I think I mentioned that I am kind of trying to work through some languishing whips at the moment. So at the moment I'm kind of working through the languishing sock pile, where I've got loads of half-made pairs of socks. And rather than keep showing the progress, I'm just going to wait until those 2 pairs for now are finished and show them to you. Both pairs are nearly finished, so that's exciting. So next time I should have a couple of pairs of socks to share with you. But I have 2 finished objects today, both jumpers, but don't worry, only one is adult sized. So I'll start with the little one, and then I'll show you my bigger adult one. So my first finished object is this cute little jumper. So this is another baby Aosta by the Knit Purl girl. I showed one last time that I knit in a brown yarn, and normally the pattern is textured, but I really liked the shape of the jumper and I enjoyed knitting it up, and I had these yarns left over from my Lax sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and so this is West Yorkshire Spinners Croft, I think. Anyway, it's a BFL yarn, it's DK, and it's in the colour Fossil. And this is a mini skein of Yarnedelic. Can't remember the colour, I'm sorry. It might be something to do with the sunflower, and it's like a yellowy ochre colour. And these are some cute little buttons from Merchant Mills, made from Corso, I'm not really sure how you say it. But yes, so I knit this in the same size as the brown one, but I had more yarn. So the brown one came out a little bit cropped, to be honest, which I'm hoping isn't going to be a problem if he's wearing it with dungarees. So this one I knit actually how it said to knit. I think my gauge must be bigger than the gauge of the pattern because I didn't have to knit as many rows on the arms to reach the length of arm it suggests. Yes. So, but yeah, the hack I made is there's no texture on this one and it's stripy. So I was inspired probably by a pattern by Petite Knit, I think, where it's quite similar, but hers might be a 4-ply pattern. Maybe, I'm not sure. And I wanted to knit it with this yarn because it feels really lovely and because I had scraps left, and so pretty much used all the scraps I had left to knit this, which is lovely. So yeah, I'm really happy. And that's the extent of that baby jumper. I think it's a really easy pattern to sub out different textures and patterns and things. I think it'd be really nice just to knit a plain stockinette one. I might do that in a bigger size, we shall see. But yeah, and you know, it's got like the buttons down the side to do up. So I really enjoyed knitting that one. And then perhaps more interesting for most of you, I have my adult finished object. And this is something I think is absolutely beautiful and I'm so happy to have finished. This is the Tuku by the Petite Knitter. I get Petite Knit and Petite Knitter mixed up, but they have very different styles. So the one that lives in the Arctic and knits primarily in brown and white. So this is my Tuku. And I have knit this in Woollentwine's Thrive, which is an unspun, in these two colours, which I'll have to put below what they are. I think it might be barley and rye, but don't hold me to that. And a strand of Midnatssol, which is a fluff yarn by Camarose, and it's a more eco-friendly alternative to mohair because it's made from baby alpaca, tencel and a little bit of merino. So the baby alpaca is the fluffiness and the tencels instead of the silk, and the merino I think just gives it a bit of like body and substance. Oh, this has cooled down a bit. And it's a really lovely yarn. I've used it before. And it's about £6 for 25 grams, which actually makes it generally more affordable than mohair, depending what mohair you're buying. But I think for an ethically made mohair, it probably is more affordable. I do have a lifeline still in the neck because I am trying to decide whether I want to leave the neck like this or whether I want to sew it down and have more of this kind of neck. I haven't decided. Hopefully I'll be able to stick a photo in of me wearing it, which I haven't taken that picture yet, but now that it's getting a bit brighter, maybe I can do that afterwards. And I wore it for the first time yesterday when I went to Wonderwool, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And so yes, I really like it. The only modifications I made are that I think it's a bit shorter in the body than the cropped version. I think I did a couple more rows before I split for sleeves. Both of these could be because I did not do a gauge swatch. So I didn't swatch my gauge, and I just cast on and started knitting. I think I knit the second size. It does fit over my larger chest and bump at the moment, so that means it will have that slightly oversized fit, you know, if my body goes back afterwards. The only thing is yesterday when I was wearing it, I noticed the sleeves shrunk quite a lot throughout the day. They were bracelet length, they're now 3/4 length. I can't say that's something that has ever happened to me before. I don't know whether it's because it's gotten wider and that's why it's shrunk up, but I'm going to have to seriously consider, I think, trying to rip back the cuff, which with unspun might be really tricky. I don't know, because I've woven in the ends really well and blocked it. So I might have to cut the last bit off, like the bind off, unravel it, pick up and knit a bit more and then do the cuffs again. Doesn't really fill me with joy, but a 3/4 length sleeve on a jumper like this isn't good enough, I don't think. I might leave it for now, but then the thing that worries me, if I leave it for now, will I ever change it? My friend did suggest to me yesterday that maybe if I've got a bigger bust than normal, that might be putting it up more. But I don't know, it did fit at the start of the day and it didn't so well at the end. So I don't know, if anybody has any thoughts about that, please share. I think I've probably got to knit the sleeves a bit longer. What do you think? I have plenty of yarn left. I used 3 full plates of the dark brown colourway from Woollentwine, so I have a whole plate left that I haven't touched. And most of the plate, I think it was like 70% of the oatmeal plate left. So I would quite like to do something else with it, maybe a colourwork hat. I'm not really sure. I don't have very much Midnatssol left, especially in the brown, but that doesn't mean I couldn't get some more, especially as I might have to order some Midnatssol for another project. So let me know what you think. Sorry, my camera stops recording every 20 minutes, so I'm kind of trying to keep an eye on it because it will continue recording, but it will also lose like 10 seconds of me talking, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it can make a big difference when you're explaining something and you suddenly lose 10 seconds. It can get a bit confusing. So, my main whips at the moment, as mentioned, are the various pairs of socks that I'm knitting. But I did cast on a pattern that was given to me by one of you lovely viewers. I've got the pattern here actually, so I can show it. Apologies, it is in black and white, so I don't know how well you're going to see this. If this does look dreadful on the screen, I'll try and stick a picture in. But it's the Baby Kylie by Anne Klimprit Designs. Not a design I've ever heard of before, but I really liked the look of the cardigan. I might sneeze. I'm laughing because it says in capitals, to save time, please take the time to check gauge. I definitely don't, especially with baby knits. But anyway, it's a 4-ply cardigan pattern. It has a bit of a striped yoke and 3 buttons at the top. And it comes in sizes 0 to 3 months, 6 to 12 and 18 to 24. So I really wanted to knit this in the newborn size because he's going to be a summer baby. And I have lots of these really small skeins of cotton yarn, which are 4-ply. And so I have cast on, but this is only one evening's work and then I haven't continued. And I've cast on using, no, not this one, I'm getting in the tangle. Using this grey cotton yarn, which I bought in Japan a few years ago. And I'm using this as a contrast colour. But because I haven't got enough of this to do the whole thing, because it says I need 400 yards of fingering weight of the grey, and I don't have that. I think I have a lot less. What does it say? It's hard because it's in Japanese. But it says 136 metres, which I would have thought there's actually more than that there, but that's what it says. So that's what I have, so nowhere near enough. Like, what, a quarter? So I thought I might alternate stripes between these two colours and have it as doing stripes all the way down rather than just the yoke, and using both of these. If I absolutely run out, I do have this cotton grey yarn, but it's a lot bluer than this and it does really stand out as being different, so I'm not really keen on doing that. I'm going to try and just use these. It might be an absolute disaster, I don't know, but at the moment I think the colour combination is absolutely gorgeous. I'm hoping you can see that. I don't know if this is going to be focusing or not because I can't see what I'm doing. Again, if it looks dreadful, I'll try and put a picture in. And it feels lovely too. I've never knit with cotton really before. Most people kind of complain about it being hard on the hands. I can't say that I've had enough experience yet to be able to comment on that, but I'm hoping for a small baby knit it won't matter. And I think if that one goes well, then I might try and aim to knit maybe the size for next summer, because he's going to be a summer baby, so I thought a cotton cardigan for this summer newborn would be really nice. By the time he's 3 months it will start getting probably cold here, so I probably won't knit that many more cotton garments after that. I don't know, maybe a cotton cardigan with a woolly jumper over the top might be quite good in our cold house. I don't know. No, don't worry, we are going to just suck it up and pay for the heating this year. I'm not going to subject my baby to a cold house. We'll just have to pay the heating bill. You know, there we go. So maybe he won't need all the layers. Maybe I won't need all the layers this year. Maybe it'll be liberating. I don't know. I'm not used to being warm, so we shall see. But yes, anyway, I digress. So I'm going to share with you now my sewing. So my sewing projects at the moment. I've got a finished one and I've got one planned. And then I'm going to share with you a bit about what's been going on. And then I will share with you about my experience at Wonderwool. So there we go. So I said last time when I recorded a video, so not my Hinterland video, but the normal podcast before that, that I was going to make a Zadie jumpsuit in some green linen. And I did. So it took me just over a day to make this. And actually like an enjoyable day, not like a stressful day. I did almost all of it in one day with plenty of breaks, sewing really slowly. It really wasn't that hard. I haven't taken all my basting out yet, so I keep finding bits of basting stitches I need to take out. But yeah, it was really straightforward. Maybe I'll make a video about making this one, because I did take some footage of making it and I did make some changes. So maybe that should be a standalone sewing video. There you go. I won't go into too much detail about what I did with this one now then. I will make a separate video about this one after I've made the next one that I'm going to make. So that will probably come in a couple of weeks. But yeah, so I made it out of this emerald green linen. I did change the legs, so the pattern actually has a much wider leg and mine has a more tapered leg. So if you see a photo of me wearing it, that is a change from the pattern, but I'll talk about how I did that then in a video just about this pattern. And I absolutely love it. I mentioned last time that I wanted to emulate a jumpsuit I already had because I had wanted to buy another one, but I didn't feel at this moment in time I could afford to pay the increased price. And somebody did comment below saying that that made them feel quite, can't remember the word she used, but she was upset that I said that I thought it was really expensive. And so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because I don't think I articulated myself very well. Obviously I've been making my own clothes for years. I know how long it takes to make a garment. I fully appreciate the amount of work that goes into it, especially when you're using good fabrics, but more importantly also people's time. And that is why I primarily make most of my own clothes rather than buy them, because I have more control over, I guess, the human aspect. Obviously it's not completely perfect because, you know, where you get your fabric from makes a big difference also. I'm sure a lot of fabric is not ethically produced. I would hope with everything that Merchant Mills puts out about, you know, being eco-tex and all of those things, they are quite a good company, and that's also reflected in their price. I do try to think about where my fabric comes from as much as possible, but I'm not sure that that industry is as transparent perhaps as we all know fast fashion can be and what it's actually like. So I don't know, that's something I'm still trying to learn about, is like the origins of fabric. Where does the fabric come from? Is the fabric still a sustainable, good, ethical choice? But at least I know when I'm making it, I'm not involving that human factor. Now, Not Perfect Linen is a company that, from as far as I can tell, are really good. They pay really good wages. It's reflected in their prices. I fully think their clothes are 100% worth the price that they charge. My issue is because of Brexit and because of taxes and all of that, it has inflated the price if you live in England. It's not their fault. And I'm not sure that this is what that person understood that I was saying. So before Brexit, I 100% could afford their clothes. Now it is a little bit harder. It's not to say I won't ever buy from them again, absolutely not. I just, if it's something I can make, I probably will, because, and I have the time to make, because I can afford my time more than I can afford the amount of money at the moment. And I don't want to buy that item from a fast fashion shop. So I chose to make this rather than buy the jumpsuit from them, because at the moment that's what I can afford. It's not me saying that their art garments are unaffordable. It's just my situation at the moment. I have a certain amount of funds for my pleasure, for things that I don't need in life, because let's face it, I don't need a linen jumpsuit. I don't need yarn to knit these projects. But I have a certain amount of money for like the things that I would like to have in my life, and I've got to decide like where that goes. That could go on buying a jumpsuit from Not Perfect Linen, but perhaps that means I wouldn't be able to buy the yarn I wanted to buy at Wonderwool yesterday, or to buy the fabric for the next version of this that I'd really like to make, etc. I hope that's a bit clearer. I don't think I'd ever disagree with the price that somebody puts on a homemade or handmade, or all clothes are handmade. I don't think I'd ever disagree with the price that somebody puts on a slow fashion item of clothing, because even if it's hundreds, that's a skilled profession. Like, it is really, really hard to do it well. I do mine okay, well enough, but these people are experts and I'm not an expert. I hope that makes sense. Quite a hardline topic to get into. But yes, Not Perfect Linen have my full respect. I love them. I would love to buy more clothes from them, but I don't need that many clothes. So at the moment I am saving for a house and a few other things. So secondhand is definitely something I'm investing more of my funds in. Also because realistically, I don't really know what's going to happen to my body after having the baby, as that's not something I know anything about in my own personal body and experience. And so I think secondhand and the occasional handmade item that's got a flexible fit, like a wrap jumpsuit, is probably where I'm going to be going. And I'm probably not going to do too much more sewing items this year. Maybe 3 tops. Yeah, so I'll share with you those as I go. But yes, I did make this emerald jumpsuit. I do really like it. I don't think it's going to fit me as far into the pregnancy as I thought it was going to. I thought it might last me the whole time, but my tummy's growing much quicker than I thought it would. Because again, I have no experience in this, so I'm quite surprised about how little overlap there is left on the jumpsuit for my tummy. I could make a bigger size, but I've already upped one size, knowing that I can wrap it down smaller afterwards. I don't think I want to make 2 sizes bigger, because I don't want like these massive clothing items afterwards. I want to be able to wear all these things after the baby as well. So I just thought I'd share with you my plans for my next one. So I have, as I mentioned, an orange not perfect linen jumpsuit and this green one. And I have worn my not perfect linen jumpsuit so much over the last few years, it's starting to wear through on the inside of the legs. So I am going to reinforce it and mend it. And maybe I will do that before that Zadie jumpsuit video and kind of combine that in there. But when I was deciding what fabric to make my own handmade jumpsuit out of, I completely fell in love with this fabric. So this is a check linen from Ray Stitch. It is the mini gingham in potting green. It's 150 centimeters wide, European linen check, made in Lithuania exclusively for Ray Stitch. It is Ecotech standard 100 certified, and it's £24 a metre. And they have it in a few different colours. Well, 3. And then sorry, you might be able to see that. They have 3 colours. And then they have some checks, like large checks. I quite like this one. I also quite like that one. And that one. But the others are too big for me, I think, especially for this jumpsuit. And I'm only going to make the one more. So this is a bit more of a more expensive fabric. That linen, that plain linen, was £15 a metre from my local fabric shop. This is £22 a metre. Yeah, so it's out of stock at the moment, so I'm waiting for them to get their next shipment in. But I've been kind of selling on quite a few items of clothing that I no longer wear on eBay and things like that. I've just had in my closet for years, which to be honest don't reflect my current style at all, because they're things from when I was a student. And so I've been saving up by rehoming the clothes I no longer use to buy enough fabric to make this jumpsuit, because it does require 2.5 metres, which when the fabric's £24 a metre is quite expensive. So, but like I said, when I say it's expensive, I don't mean that it's not worth it. It's just not something that I'm buying at the drop of a hat without thinking about it. You know, if it was £10 a metre, I probably would stress about it a lot less. But if it's going to be £25 a metre, then I want to know that it's absolutely what I want to make. And that I'm absolutely going to wear it. So that's why I ordered the swatches, just to be sure. Because you do have to pay for the swatch packs. I think it was £4. But I thought, you know, if I didn't actually like it and I ordered 2.5 metres, then that would be really sad. And after the experience I had with the yellow linen not arriving in the right colour for the other jumpsuit, I didn't want to do that again. So, yes. Oh, by the way, it feels amazing. I do recommend it. It does feel like it'd be a really lovely fabric. And if the Merchant Mills check linen has gone up as much as it has, because I think it's gone up to over £30 a metre, then this is significantly cheaper still, unless they put their prices up too. Which, you know, if they have to, they have to. Yeah, I mean, it's the climate we're in at the moment, isn't it? Mm. Okay. So Wonderwool. Sorry, I've got a really dry face at the moment. The weather is messing with my skin big time. Or maybe it's the pregnancy, I don't know. So my friend and I, new friend actually, met at our local knit night. She suggested that we went to Wonderwool a couple of weeks ago, so we bought tickets. And then my partner shattered his heel. He fell off a ledge. Breaking his foot doesn't really adequately describe what happened. I'm not being a drama queen. He has royally, absolutely effed his foot. It's horrendous. He can't walk. So it's been kind of tricky because he was in bed for a week and we went to the hospital hoping they would say that they would operate on him, and they said no, not yet, it's still too bad, we have to wait another week. So Friday, Sunday today, we went back in again thinking that they would just have another look and decide whether or not they'd be able to operate that weekend and send us home. They did say they would operate that weekend, which surprised me because it still looked awful. Yeah, it was a bit kind of an emotional experience because they said he probably won't be right for a couple of years. And being that I'm 6 months pregnant and I can't drive and my partner can't walk and he's bedbound, it's been hard. So I'm very tired. And they said, well, we're going to keep him in for the whole weekend and we'll do the operation on Sunday. So I'm kind of hoping at the moment that it's over and he's sleeping and soon he'll wake up and tell me that he's awake and that I can go see him, because I have no idea whereabouts in the massive Birmingham hospital they've put him. So yes, it's been a bit of a stressful weekend. And so anyway, it meant that until the very last minute I had no idea whether we would be able to go to Wonderwool or not, because if they were going to send us home, I didn't want to leave him in the house on his own all day, because maybe he would have to go back for another appointment or a pre-op or something. I've never been in this situation before. But they said they were going to keep him in, and so he said, well, I'm going to be stuck in hospital all day, you should go and have a break and have a nice time, because you can't sit with me all day at the hospital anyway, and you can come see me afterwards. So I did. My friend and I drove to Wonderwool. It took about 2.5 hours from here. We had a really lovely time, and a few people, and this has never happened to me before, came up to me and said that they watched the podcast, and I had a bit of a lovely chat with a couple of you. So thank you, and sorry if I was a bit weird, because I honestly expected every single person to say, I love your jumper, not I love watching your podcast. So yeah, and obviously there's a lot going on in my mind at the moment, and I'm knackered. So yes, hopefully I wasn't too awkward. I guess that's something that maybe I need to get used to, I don't know, but it was really, really lovely. So thank you, and I hope you guys all had a really nice time and had some lovely yarny purchases. But yes, so we went to Wonderwool, and I'm going to share with you my mini acquisition haul, although maybe it's not that mini. By my standards it's large. I think by most people's maybe it's not. I saw people with whole trolleys. And then I came back and I saw him in the evening, and he messaged me this morning saying they've booked him in for his appointment, for his operation, and they are doing it. So yes, it is being operated on because it's so bad. I'm due to have the baby in 12 weeks time, and he might be able to hobble around and get out of bed in 10 weeks. So it's cutting it a bit fine. The baby better not come early. And I know they don't tend to for the first one. So I'm really hoping that I'm one of those people that does not have an early baby, because I want him to be as healed as he can be before that happens. So it's been a couple of weeks of juggling. I'm still working full time. So I'm working full time. I'm growing a baby. I'm looking after my partner that can't get out of bed. I can't drive, so I'm doing all the shopping on the bus. A very kind friend at work is now giving me lifts to and from work, so I'm trying to do my food shopping before work or during my lunch break so I can bring it home with me so I don't have to worry about it too much. And I am so grateful I live in a city with Uber. I know Uber's problematic, but at the moment Uber is saving my bacon. Thankfully the hospital isn't so far away, and so that means Uber isn't costing me too much money, otherwise, yeah. But yes, so it's been a couple of weeks. I'm hoping now that he's had the operation. Well, he should have done by now. So he's going to start recovering and things are going to start getting better. And yes, hopefully. So that's that. So if I do look tired, that's why. People keep telling me I'm glowing from being pregnant, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I'm glowing. But I'm just so grateful that it wasn't worse, and that they can operate on him, because it did look like for a while that they weren't going to, because it was too bad, which would mean that it wouldn't heal properly and he would have a real problem forever. As it is, he probably will have a problem when he's older. But at least we are, I mean, the doctor said we're making the best of a bad situation. And I was like, that is not something you need to say to a 6-month pregnant person who hasn't slept in days. Another nurse said to me, why aren't you sleeping? Is the baby keeping you awake? And I was like, yeah, amongst other things. Sat next to my partner who is in a right mess. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about that anymore. He is healthy, he's doing really well with his mind. You know, like, we're in the best situation we can be. We've just got to get through it, and isn't how I expected to spend the last few weeks of my pregnancy, but it is what it is. It's spring is coming, the weather's getting better, that makes things a bit easier. My friends are all really lovely. I've had lots of offers of help. But yeah, so it will be fine. So anyway, maybe I was a bit more indulgent than I thought I was going to be at Wonderwool, because I was just kind of like, meh. I want to have a nice day, I don't want to worry about it. But I was still quite restrained. There was only one really indulgent purchase, but even then it was quite restrained. And I'm going to start with that one. So, Daughter of a Shepherd was at Wonderwool, and as mentioned, I really like this yarn, but I wasn't going to buy anything from her because I have knit from her yarn before and I wanted to try other things, and I had a few things in mind that I was looking for, but I went to her stand with my friend because my friend wanted to pick up her skein of her new Ammonite yarn, which was gorgeous. And Daughter of a Shepherd had their Brume Aran weight on for basically half price, £15 a skein, rather than almost 30. And I mean, I just love this yarn. It smells so sheepy, it feels rustic, but it's also soft. And I was like, how can I not buy it if it's £15 a skein? So I bought 4, which I'm hoping will be enough. So it's 166 meters per 100 grams, and it's a light Aran heavy worsted weight. So I've got 4 of these. And as I mentioned earlier, I have 50 grams left of this one in the 4-ply. So I don't really know what weight it would be if I held it double, because that should be a DK, but I wonder if I could get away with using it with this, just to like add a few more meters on maybe, because I mean the colour is the same, it's the same, I don't know if it's the same clip, but it is very close. So I don't know what I'm going to make with it. A jumper, I'd like to make a garment because I already have a shawl in it, in the 4-ply, so I would quite like a garment in this, maybe a cardigan. I don't know, with 4 times 166, that is 320, 640, about 640 meters. Maybe I could get a little bit more out by using the rest of this held double. Any nice cardigan pattern ideas? If I am pushing it for meterage, I could do another colourwork yoke something, and use like a undyed beigey cream yarn with it, maybe. But I'd quite like the idea of something just plain dark brown, maybe. Because I just love this yarn. So that was my biggest purchase, which, you know, it was about £60, but obviously that would have been about 120 normally. Maybe I should have bought a 5th skein, but I thought 4 would be enough. Yeah, and so it's, I keep sniffing it. Yarn from Hebridean Sheep, the 2019 clip. It's Hebridean, Zortals and X Small Blueface. Yeah, and absolutely love it, so I don't regret that at all. So that was my biggest purchase. I love Daughter of a Shepherd. I think her yarn's so lovely. And then sorry, it's all on my window bed. And then I did a little bit of fibre shopping. So I think I mentioned possibly in my last video that I was or had been to the Spinning Guild in Birmingham, and a very kind person gave me a bit of a lesson, and I am at a point where it's happening. It's not very neat, but it's happening. I can do it. I just need to get better, more consistent. So I thought I was okay to indulge in a little bit of fibre. I do have, it was down there, it's not anymore. I do have maybe 3 more braids that I bought from Hilltop Katie, I think her name is. She was also at Wonderwool from Wales, that I bought online over Christmas and January when I was trying to use my e-spinner. And I have spun up one of those. No, so maybe I had 4. I think I've got a Shetland, a Falkland, and something else. But the Corriedale's the one I've spun up. I'm pretty sure there was a 3rd to practice on. Then after that, I am going to make a start on these. So I really wanted to try Merino Skewers hand-dyed fibre. So I got this one. And I made a beeline for Marina. She was the first person we went to go see. We did have a bit of a coffee and cake break when we got there because it was like a 2.5 hour drive and we were starving. But then after that we went to go see Marina. She was very busy, so I didn't get to chat to her too much. But you know, that's really good. I'm glad she was busy. And so I bought this one. It is the Panther Chameleon, and it's her skewer blend, which is Dorset Horn, Cheviot, Manx, Lockton, Teeswater and Jacobs. So it's got blues, pinks, yellows. I really didn't know which one to buy. I could have bought 5 of them, to be honest. But again, I didn't want to go too mad when I'm not totally confident that I know what I'm doing. So I bought this one. And then, so Wing & Wool are the people that actually make the fibre blend. And they had the skewer blend undyed. So I did buy one of those. So I don't know whether I would spin them both up and ply them together, or make 2 separate yarns and use them in the same project, or use them in separate projects. I don't know. But obviously there is quite a lot of crossover, so it might make quite a good combo spin. I don't know. We shall see how the spinning goes. So yeah, I got those 2. And then on my hit list, also whilst I was there, was I saw that Fernhill Fibre had some, they called it Silver Lustre Long Breed, so I don't really know what that is, 100 grams for £6. And so I thought that that would be quite a nice thing to also practice on, because it's not very expensive, feels nice, and it's in one of my favourite colours. It's undyed. So I thought that was a good thing to practice on, which also was in line kind of with my wanting to buy, you know, local, ethically sourced fibres. And then I wanted to buy one from John Arbon. And again, this was only £6.50 for 100 grams. And this was one of the Wonderwool special blends. I don't remember the name of the colour or what was in it. So rookie error, when you buy fibre, you don't always get a label. Especially not from John Arbon. I should have taken a photo of the label and I didn't. And so this is a combination of stuff. I'm pretty sure there's warp tools in it, Exmoor Blueface, and a few others. But I asked, would it be good for someone who is learning? She said it was all quite long fibres, so yes, probably. So I got that. Yeah. So, which is a bit of a change from all the other ones I've got in my stash. I think are more warmer, browny, grungy things, and so this is more of a bluey, blacky green. So yeah, we'll see. I feel like it probably does go quite well. with the other things I've got. So I don't know, maybe I'll be able to do some kind of really nice combo spin. That's kind of why I want to learn, to be able to do nice combo spins. So maybe that's an option. And that's kind of most of what I bought. I only had one or two other things. So whilst I was at John Arbon, I also picked up another skein of Exmoor sock in the Bibblebug colour because I've run out in the pair of socks I'm knitting, and I thought, well, it's a sock yarn that I will use, so it makes no difference to me to have another one in my stash. This is probably the fourth one I've now bought because it's one of my favourite colourways and I just keep using it. So when I was picking up the fibre, I got another skein of that. Hopefully the colour will match enough with half a heel I've already knit with the other one. And then, talking of running out of yarn for heels, I'm about to run out of yarn on a pair of socks I'm knitting at the moment, and I didn't really want to have too strong a contrast between the colours on the heel, so I bought this mini skein from Lay Family Yarns, and it's almost the same colour as the heel I'm knitting. There will be a difference, but it won't stand out too much, so I just bought this mini skein from them. It's just a standard superwash nylon merino. They're based in Ironbridge. And they had some really lovely sock colourways actually, and there'll be a video of them in my video montage of Wonderwool, which you might have seen, or it might go after this. And I nearly did buy a sock skein from them, but I'd kind of spent my budget by that point, and though a nice skein of sock yarn was on my list, I do have some nice sock yarn already. I just thought it'd be a nice thing to be knitting in the hospital when I'm in the hospital, but it's not there anymore. I have some Croy sock yarn for that, which I can take, so fine. When I say in the hospital, I mean when I'm having my hospital stay, not my partner at the moment. And then the last thing I bought, which was a bit of a wild card purchase, is this. So this is from a company called 80 Skeins, and it is an unspun Lopi type wool, and it's like kind of tealy multicoloured, and I fell in love with the colour because it's kind of like a greyish tealy purpley colour, and I was going to get like a mohair or fluff to go with it, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It is annoyingly like Mancha Lopi, where it's got 2 strands on the cake. I have 388 grams here, and it says it's 110 metres per 100 grams, so that gives me what, around 400 metres. Sorry, I'm flagging a bit now, I'm a bit tired. That gives me around 400 metres held double, which isn't enough to knit a garment, so I could painstakingly wind it into separate balls, and then I'd have about 800 metres and hold with a strand of something else. I don't know whether to get a Midnatssol that goes with it, or a traditional mohair, or something else. I think this probably will go in my stash for a little while, maybe for the winter or something like that, because I have a few other projects I want to knit first. Maybe the next time I'm going to a yarn shop, I will take it with me to pick out a fluff to go with it, and save it for then. I don't know, but I just really liked the colour, so there we go. And it was £7 for 100 grams, which I thought was really good going, so it wasn't an expensive purchase, really, in the grand scheme of things. And that was the last thing I bought. So there we go, that's my Wonderwool haul. If you went, I would love to hear what you were drawn to and what projects you've got in mind. I do kind of have ideas. I mean, the spinning is spinning. Learning what to knit with my hand spun is a completely separate thing. I mean, I did think about doing a Felix with this, maybe, if I do unwind it and hold it with a fluff. Did also think about maybe doing a Felix with the Brume yarn I bought, I don't know. Oh no, there was one more thing that I got. I've always wanted to try this yarn by River Knits. So this is the Crimea yarn. And it's a bit like Spin Cycle, but it's made from British Blueface Leicester. And this is in the colour Lichen. And it's half the price of Spin Cycle. I bought one skein of Spin Cycle in a very similar colour actually when I was in America, which I'm going to use for my Alpenglow. And I actually think I prefer the feel of this. This is much softer. So I wanted to try this as well. So I will probably, one of Andrea Mowry's hat patterns maybe, where you have like a plain colour and a contrast colour shifting colour, maybe, colour work cat, I don't know, colour work cow, something like that. But yeah, that was another treat. Maybe? Probably not, the weight is too different. I think it's a 4-ply. It's 195 metres per 50 grams. So it is a 4-ply rather than like a sport weight or something like that. But yeah, so that was my trip to Wonderwool. There were many beautiful things I saw. Saw a lot of Gotland yarn, and I love Gotland yarn. So if I hadn't have bought the Brume Aran weight, I might have bought a jumper's quantity of Gotland from Blacker Yarns. There was a really lovely rust one, which I'll put a picture in, which I'm going to remember because I have a sweater's quantity of rust coloured mohair, which I need something to hold with. So maybe that will go on the Christmas wish list. I don't know. I think I've done enough yarn shopping to last me a little while. I've got plenty of lovely projects to be working on before and after the baby comes, of varying skill levels, so that's good. But I'm going to stop it there because I'm very tired now. I need to have a bit of rest and something to eat, I think, before going to the hospital later to see my partner. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you again to everyone that I saw at Wonderwool. Thank you to my friend for taking me because I wouldn't have been able to get there without you. I don't think you watch these though, so that's fine. Yeah, and thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. And hopefully I will see you soon with another video. I don't know whether it'll be a normal podcast or whether it'll be about spinning, or I don't know, maybe I'll insert some footage of my dodgy spinning skills at the moment. I will talk more about my spinning journey at some point because I think a lot of people are wondering if it was ever possible for them, and I want to give other people some encouragement because I genuinely did not think I'd be able to learn how to do it, and I'm now starting to think that probably I can. So that's really motivating. So thank you, have a lovely rest of your day. I hope you're all doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.